Then they win in 1996. Don't forget Prime Monday and Monday Night Football. That's Packers at Cowboys. All that at 7:30 and then at 9.
Plus injuries to Robert Smith and Warren Moon. And the Vikings dropped onto the playoff bubble. Postseason hopes ready to burst. But Denny Green and his team stopped the free fall. Brad Johnson's arm has Minnesota back in contention. The Vikes are still floating, in control of their wild card destiny. But a loss today against Tampa, and the Vikings' playoff dreams may come true. When the Vikings like the snow, well, then they're going to love today. They're right in their element. A lot of snow fell on the Twin Cities last night, and the Vikings are getting ready to roll. They take on an NFC Central Division foe, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Minnesota with a record of 8-6, and right now they have their playoff destiny right in their own little Viking hands. And hello, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, along with my partner, Bill Maas. And Bill, these two teams come into this game both looking at it like a playoff game. Tampa Bay with something to build on for years to come. Meanwhile, Minnesota, they're looking at the 96 playoffs, and they are looking as a very hot team right now.
Yeah, they are hot. Dennis Green's done a great job of keeping this team together despite injuries. Now, they lost Warren Moon and Robert Smith, and to a lot of teams, that would really hurt them. But they've installed Brad Johnson and Leroy Hoard, and with that, a new offensive philosophy and scheme, a power attack, and then they pick Brad Johnson's passes. And talking to Denny Green, he says, you know, he likes this approach. This is the kind of approach he had when he was the head coach at Stanford.
And trying to stop that red-hot offense and this red-hot team is the Tampa Bay defense that's getting better and better and better, led by Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy's done a great job with this young group. Now, it's an undersized group, a very athletic group, fast, always on the attack. Now, it's going to be interesting today to see if this young athletic group can hold up against the big mammoth line of the Minnesota Vikings.
Little different Tampa Bay team than has come in here in years past. Going to be a good matchup today. We're glad you're with us. They're thinking playoffs in Minnesota. Back after this from your local Fox station.
Trying to play that slow down game. We're trying to play the fast break. You know, fast break from offense to score 35. Defense going to shut them out. Yeah, big win today. Big win today. We're getting to the playoffs. Playoffs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Playoffs.
Not only was Tony Dungy the defensive coordinator here in Minnesota for a few years, he was quarterback at the University of Minnesota. He's back. He's in the snow. He left the sunshine behind in Tampa Bay. He, however, has been here for years, the guy with the swords. Michael Houston kicks it away as Minnesota's won the toss. They receive David Palmer. Crosses the 20 and not much more to the 21. A return of 15 yards, tackled by LaCurtis Jones, and here comes Brad Johnson. Not only is he the #1 rated quarterback in the NFL right now with a quarterback rating of over 94, but right now he is in a contract negotiation with the Minnesota Vikings, protected by this offensive line. Look at David Dixon, number 71. He's only 360. How about the backs and receivers? Leroy Hoard has been outstanding since he was picked up. Charles Evans is the fullback with Reed and Carter the wideouts, and the tight end, a big one, a former tackle, Hunter Goodwin. From their own 21. They swing it out. Wide open is Ford. He gets to the 25, a gain of 4, and he's met by Lonnie Martz. This is the 9th rated defense in the National Football League. Up front, they really like what Chidi Ahanotu is doing, as they do with Warren Sapp. Reagan Upshaw's the rookie. Culpepper, a former Viking. The linebackers, Hardy Nickerson has had a great year, an unsung year. Derek Brooks, you can make a case he should go to the Pro Bowl. He is not. Mayhew and Abraham on the corners. Johnson and Lynch are the safeties. Second down and 6. That's Amp Lee. Trying to bounce it outside. A nice move. He crosses the 30. He's near a first down, tackled by Martin Mayhew. I believe he got enough for a fresh set of downs.
Joe, when you look at this Minnesota Vikings offense and the things they've been through this season, they started off real strong, and Warren Moon was the quarterback, and then they went into a slump there in the middle of the season due to injuries to Warren and also to Robert Smith, the running back. Now they've installed this power run game, and led by Leroy Hoard. They made the move. They got Hunter Goodwin at tight end. They got Dixon, a 360-pound guard, and they're pounding the ball with Hoard. And then they have the opportunity, after pounding the ball, is to spread it around a little bit.
Lee gets enough for a first down, and a good start for Brian Billick's offensive team.
And Brian Billick has done a good job. And see the guys over, this is the right side of the line for the Minnesota Vikings. And 360 pounds, that is the biggest guard in the NFL.
That is on the body of David Dixon. First down from their own 31. They hand to Horde. Leroy Horde. He's a big guy making moves in the hole, and he crosses the 40, has enough for yet another Viking first down.
Now, one of the things I was talking about was the athletic bunch of guys. I want you to watch Warren Sapp. He's the left defensive tackle, second in from the left side of your screen. Watch him shoot upfield. Now watch Dixon just take him and throw him down to the ground. Now that's the problem, I think, is going to be posed for the Tampa Bay Buc defense. Can this group match up to this big offensive line when they're shooting gaps? Dixon just pushes them right down to the ground, and that sprung the hole open for Horde.
As I mentioned, Leroy Horde, and something you talk about, Bill, he's a big guy, yet he can move a little bit inside that hole. Talk about a good mid-season pickup. Leroy Horde has changed the entire approach of this offense. Breaks a tackle in the backfield, pushes forward to the 45, lost the ball, and it may belong to Tampa Bay. It does. An early turnover, and it belongs to the Buccaneers. Horde broke a tackle, then lost the football, and Tampa Bay will take over at the Minnesota 45.
Well, watch, there's Reagan Upshaw. He's the one that gets penetration and makes the play bounce outside. Then Nickerson comes up, and then watch who comes up in the middle. That's Derek Brooks. He's a linebacker. I'm telling you, Joe, that he didn't get a Pro Bowl mention because he doesn't have any sacks. But this guy is all over the field. See him put his helmet right on the ball?
Donnie Abraham came away with a fumble recovery, and this less-than-capacity crowd at the Metrodome tries to get into it to help the defense. An early turnover, first down, Tampa Bay. From the Minnesota 44, play action. Picked off. One turnover to the next. Back the other way, Minnesota and Darryl Talley. That's his first of the year, and the first throw from Dilfer intercepted by Talley.
Joe, Tampa Bay made a mistake right there. They made a big mistake. They tried to capitalize too early on the turnover, and they've got out of their game plan. They like to match up with Jackie Harris, number 81, at top left of your screen, on Darryl Talley. But when you get the turnover and you're inside the 50, Tampa Bay isn't a team that can come out and throw the ball downfield. They need to stick with what has got them their success late in the season, and that is running the ball with Allstott.
Tampa Bay rushed for over 200 yards a week ago at home over Washington. And the first offensive play from Tampa Bay for the Buccaneers was offensive. An interception. That's Jake Reed. He's to midfield, beyond, and brought down right at the first down marker by Melvin Johnson.
And that's a matchup that favors the Minnesota Vikings, is the wide receivers. Now, Tampa Bay last week, they played the Washington Redskins, and Michael Westbrook was out, and they were nicked up, and the wide receivers were not a threat to him. But this week it's a different story because they're playing two of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
Reed got 10, a first down. Minnesota has it inside Tampa Bay territory. Johnson in trouble, dumps it off to his fullback Evans. Not much. Chidi Ahanatu there to make the stop along with Derek Brooks.
Well, that's defense of not biting on the play pass. The play action fake. They fake
35-yard line. Curtis Martin cut off. Try to cut back the other way. What a move by Curtis.
Be key to see if they can get back out and help out on the wide receivers.
Two tight ends in the lineup on 2nd and 8. Culpepper jumped too soon. Waved by Minnesota in 94.
Sanders tries to make a shoulder tackle without wrapping up Curtis Martin. You see, right, bang, there it is. He doesn't wrap him up, and then Curtis Martin reverses his field.
You know, Sam, it's December. How often in December do you see fundamentals go straight into the toilet? Guys aren't wrapping up. They're not finishing blocks. And
Nose tackle position. That 5 yards makes it 2nd down and 3. Tony Dungy telling us yesterday, whichever team jumps out to an early lead, if it's a big lead, it might be tough for the other team to overcome. Horde trying to pick his way, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. Lynch and Brooks there to make the stop.
And they're two of the guys that I talked about right off the bat. Lynch comes flying up. He's crossing in motion there. Now watch 55, the linebacker, Derek Brooks. That's what I'm talking about the athletic group that shoots gaps and flies around. And Lynch, the strong safety, that's what I'm talking about. They've got to get him up in the run support, but yet they've got to get him back in pass drop situations, too, to help on the wide receivers.
As opposed to playing Washington a week ago, a tougher matchup with the wideouts when you play Minnesota. On 3rd and 3, incomplete, well defended by Mayhew. David Palmer, the intended receiver, and Mayhew was there to get a hand on it. And it's time for Minnesota to punt.
Joe, thus far,
Release, pressure on the quarterback. He has to just put it up. Is there holding right there or what?
Well, that's big time hold time, but yeah, it's all set up by the fact that Bledsoe had to put that weather balloon up there because
our run game. They're coming out, and they like the pass matchups out there with their wide receivers. But the key to their offense has been Horde running the ball.
Here's Mitch Berger into punt for Minnesota with Carl Williams waiting deep. Williams will let it go over his head. It stays in play, and it settles near the 12-yard line. Down by Evans, the fullback. A punt of 21 yards. Couple of turnovers early. No score first quarter. Team with a win today and a Washington loss in Arizona. They're in the playoffs for the 4th time in his 5-year stint here with the Vikings. Here's a handoff to Allstott. Not much of anything.
score touchdown.
2nd down and 3 from the 8. Off the pick. Martin following his blocker. Could not make the turn.
Protected by this offensive front. Look at George Diaz at right guard. He takes the place of Ian Beckles, inactive today with a bad back. Rhett and Allstott in the backfield, very good. Thomas, Hawkins, the wide receivers. The tight end is Jackie Harris. Loss of 1 on that hand to Allstott. 2nd and 11. They try it again. Bigger hole this time. Allstott pushes the pile across the 15, and a 3rd and relatively long coming up for Tampa Bay. The defense for Minnesota.
Right up here, you're going to see a jump. Excuse me, right down here at the bottom. Right here it is. Jumps across, trying to anticipate the snap count. Sometimes the snap count is on rhythm. Sometimes it's on the early movement by the quarterback. They're just trying to be intimidating here.
A lot of it, Marv, is nerves.
Are the safeties for Minnesota.
So you mentioned Diaz in there for Ian Beck.
At the 4. Play action.
There when Randall McDaniel gets over.
Dilfer to throw on 3rd and 6, and he is out of a tackle. Dumps it off to Allstott, who's short of a first down. Dilfer avoids the sack with the completion short of a first down in time for Tampa Bay to punt.
Very clear coming into today's game. If the Patriots win, they clinch the AFC East. If the Cowboys win, they clinch the NFC East. 2nd and goal at the 4-yard line. Bledsoe with the long look, firing, intended for Glenn, covered by Kevin Smith.
Palmer waits for the punt from Tommy Barnhart. One of the better punters in the league. Good hang time, beautiful punt. Palmer, the fair catch inside the 40. Good field position again for Minnesota after a 44-yard punt. 7:52 left first quarter. No score. Vikings have. Early in the season, the Minnesota Vikings really relied on Chris Carter and Jake Reed. Both went to the Pro Bowl last year. Carter is going back this season, his 4th straight trip. But the last 4 games, Bill Moss, the offensive output has changed quite a bit.
It has changed, and they've gotten away from it early in this game.
Leroy Horde has been a big part of it. Here they are throwing again. That's Carter. Not much on first down, short of the 40.
And that's what I'm talking about, Joe. They've come out throwing the ball. Now, to me, I think that plays into the hands of the Buccaneers. You know, they've been effective running Horde and selecting Brad Johnson's passes for him. Now they're coming out and saying they like the matchup so much against the Bucs DBs that they're going to say, okay, we can throw the ball. I think that's putting too much weight on Brad Johnson's shoulders right now.
Brad Johnson has been absolutely red hot his last 2 games. 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. 2nd down and 9. Quick throw to Carter. Good catch. Can't shake the tackle of Donnie Abraham. Good work. And Carter brought down a couple yards short of a first down.
Well, watch the cushion, Donnie. Now, the DBs here, they know. See, look at the distance he's playing off, Donnie Abraham. I mean, he is off the ball. They respect the speed of these guys. They respect the way they can run routes. But look at the close. They're going to give him the underneath. But, see, he's tackled right where he catches the ball, and that's key for him. And now you come up with it's 3rd and 3.5.
Dimry checks in an extra defensive back for Tampa Bay. We'll call it 3rd and 2 after a gain of 7. And on the rollout, the throw, the catch, Carter the first down.
And in the passing game, that's the biggest difference between Warren Moon and Brad Johnson is the waggle pass. And that really puts the effort on the defense to respond to him because he's coming out of the pocket. And when you do that, it's a big threat. It's a lot of pressure on the defense to respond to it, and they couldn't do that with Warren Moon.
Trent Dilfer says the Tampa Bay offense doesn't have any freebies. That's as close to a freebie in the NFL as you're going to get. A 3-yard completion. Now Horde gets nothing. Pushed back and lost about a yard. Melvin Johnson up to help out, and it's 2nd and 11.
Yeah, you're going to see the safeties. They Melvin Johnson up there. We talked about them. I mean, these 2 safeties for the Bucs, they fly around. They're very active in the running game. Now, with that, you know, you kind of set yourself up, Joe, because when you have your safeties flying up, I mean, then you get the waggle pass going. How about a halfback pass or a flea flicker where you fake the run, toss back to the quarterback, and then up over the top?
2nd down and 11. Horde, I mean, there is nothing there. Sapp was right in the middle of it along with Hardy Nickerson.
It's from the 30-yard line. Martin on a slant.
Well, so far.
And I think it's going to hurt them in the long run because they put an emphasis on passing the ball this game. I mean, they came out there. You don't see the pounding. And look at, did you see Culpepper jump around there? I mean, that's just group. They jump, they shoot gaps, the linebackers fly around, and that's what they do. And with that big offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings, right now they're not able to handle all that movement.
3rd down and 12. Johnson flushed out of the pocket and sacked. That's the rookie Upshaw underneath. He had help from Culpepper, and it's the first Tampa Bay sack of the day and their 29th of the year.
Well, watch. Here's Culpepper, and I'm talking about watch the stunt. He's going to loop around here. Now, upfield, here's a spin over here by Upshaw, and he closes the gap on him. Now, but it's Culpepper who comes from the backside all the way around from his tackle position, and that's the movement and the problems that they create.
Now the punt by Berger sends Carl Williams back near the 15. Right up the middle of the field. Carl Williams bouncing it outside. It could be the 2nd punt return for a touchdown in Tampa Bay history, but the punter, Mitch Berger, saves it with a tackle at the 14-yard line. A 72-yard return from Carl Williams after only a 39-yard punt. Berger is exhausted.
I bet Williams is too. One thing about this Tampa Bay unit is their special teams plays with a lot of pride. Joe Marciano has done a great job with his unit. Not only are they good on returning the ball, as you see here, but they're great at covering. They're number 1 in kickoff coverage in the NFL and number 2 in punt coverage in the NFL. And the amazing thing is there's 6 starters, regular starters on offense and defense that play all special teams for them.
2nd longest punt return in Buccaneers history from the Minnesota 13. Play action. Dilfer going to run it and slide near the 8-yard line. Fernando Smith climbed up his back after a pickup of 5.
You know, when you get in trouble, you watch the bootleg. Fernando Smith does a good job of staying outside once he sees the down block by Harris, but he stays outside. See him come back there? Now watch there. Dave Moore is open, but Dilfer had Fernando Smith on his back chasing him around and didn't have the time to find Dave Moore in the end zone.
He ran for 5, 2nd down and 5. Eric Rett, first run of the day, down near the 5-yard line, and a 3rd down coming up. Rett got 3.
I mean, that's what they do well, is they pound the middle. And they pound the middle. You have Rett, you have Allstock. Watch Pine pull here. He's going to lead this thing up. Now, Allstock gets a block on the tackle, and then Pine leads up on the linebacker. That's Brady. And, you know, that power game they have going. Last week we saw Beckles doing all the power pulling and all the trapping.
That's Pine, who, as you said, was pulling on the play. He got trapped. He's down and injured. We'll take a timeout. Really becoming a big concern now.
There's Pine, and he gets rolled up here. Now, here comes Hanks. You know, that's Marty Harrison, and it's Marty Harrison and Rett that end up on the back of Pine. You see him twisted around in there. And, yeah, and now they have a problem. They're down to their last 2 backups in the interior unit. I'm talking about the guard, center, and guard. Diaz is in for Beckles. Beckles is on the sidelines, inactive today. He didn't practice all week with a back spasm from last week's game. Now, Pine, your left guard, is out. And Diaz is normally his backup as well. So Chrisman, actually the backup center, is now going to be in there playing guard.
So Chrisman in, Diaz in, and Mitch Berger needs a tape job. He made the tackle to save the touchdown, and he hurt his right forearm.
But when he laid out there, you know, he got a turf burn. And, you know, punters aren't, you know, used to getting turf burns. That's a problem.
So it's nothing more than a burn. 3rd and a couple for Tampa Bay as they try to take an early lead. After the 72-yard punt return from Carl Williams. Touchdown running for Rett. It's his 3rd touchdown of the year.
And that's where they're best, Joe, is right up the middle. Now, I want you to watch the motion. This is Dave Moore. He starts in, and it comes back, and watch him lead up on Jeff Brady. See him stop and hesitate, and then he bang. He's right into Brady. Watch him open that thing up. Great block on the linebacker. And then he gets a piece of the safety as well. Fabulous block by Dave Moore.
So Rett, his 2nd rushing touchdown, his 3rd overall, and Husted will attempt the extra point to make it a 7-point lead. Just did keep it inside the left upright, and the Buccaneers are out in front. Just a 3-play drive covering 13 yards. Eric Rett into the end zone, and a stunned Metrodome crowd watching Tampa Bay jump out and
head up as well. But Moore with the double block. He gets Brady, and then he gets Dwayne Washington.
And now Tampa Bay kicks it away. Husted. Kadre Ismail from inside the 5. To the 20, lost the football, but it's recovered by Minnesota, and a penalty flag comes in late on the play. 21-yard return, but talk about stumbling out of the gate. Minnesota has done little or nothing. And they nearly turned it over for the 2nd time.
And they're going to be starting in the hole again with a
Aikman, and he has the 1st down.
Will cost the Minnesota Vikings. Our referee today is Walt Coleman. For those of you scoring at home.
We have an illegal block in the back on the return team, number 35, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
That's Chris Johnson, and that's the 1st Minnesota penalty here in the 1st half.
There's the, it was right there. Blocking it back. I mean, he was blocking his name. They always tell you, you know, if you can see the name, stay away from him. He blocked his name.
1st and 10 from the 10. A quick out to Jake Reed. The ball's there waiting for him.
The drive-in movie.
Randy, I'm so sorry that you have to be exposed to Sam. His face is out of as Aikman throws incomplete.
Is making a mistake. I think they're making a mistake by getting away from the complete offense that has been successful for them. And then now, you know, they're coming out and they're throwing the ball. And they're in a hole. I mean, they're not moving the ball methodically like they did when they went on this last winning stretch that they've been on.
Martin Mayhew there to make the stop. More throws than runs. It's 2nd down and 5. Keep it on the ground now with Horde, and there is nothing there. John Lynch throws the ball out after the play was over. He was over there with Brooks in a very impressive start to the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense.
Well, coming into the game, you know, I was talking about their defense, and I'm talking about this guy right here, that he had to have a big day. That's the strong safety, John Lynch. Now watch him come up and support the run. He is up there. There's only one safety back here. He's playing run, and that's him on the tackle.
So far for Leroy Horde, 6 carries, only 9 yards. Minnesota faced with a 3rd and 5. Blitz coming. Johnson dumps it off to Evans. Evans is wrapped up short of a first down.
The chant of Moose from the
Johnson, and it's time for the Vikings to punt again.
When you talk about Tony Dungy and you talk about Monty Kiffin, you talk about blitzing. And the way they blitz is different every week. Here, they blitz from about 12 yards out. And that's the free safety, Melvin Johnson. So when you come up to the line of scrimmage, a lot of times when you see blitz, you see guys right up there at the line of scrimmage, stepping in, gives the offensive line time to react. There, he's 12 yards deep and comes.
Mitch Berger to punt again with Carl Williams waiting deep. Better punt this time, much better. Williams on the run, back inside the 30. Gets to the 35, and that is it. Pete Persich, one of the linebackers there to make the stop. He was helped on the play. Well, what's coming up on Saturday next weekend? Begin your football Saturday with America's favorite pregame show. Join JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie as they preview the Saints-Rams and take a look at some of the top college talent available in next year's draft. Don't miss a Fox NFL special beginning at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. That's coming up next Saturday, and there's Jake Reed. He looks a bit banged up. That was a 55-yard punt from Berger. 7-yard return. Dilfer to throw, and over the middle, his receiver Hawkins was not turned around waiting for the ball. Dilfer and Hawkins both looking for a flag on the play. Not going to get it.
Well, that was good coverage by the Vikings secondary. And what they did is they manned up everybody, and then they had the linebackers to double on the guys inside.
Tony Dungy looking up at the replay board here at the Metrodome, talking to the official, but no flag, and a 2nd and 10. Slow start for Dilfer. 1 out of 3 for 3 yards and 1 interception. On the ground, it's Brett breaking tackles. He got maybe a yard. Just did get back to the line of scrimmage, and a 3rd and 10 coming up.
Now, Foch Fazio's defensive unit in the Vikings has to blitz to stop the run on this group. They just don't match up. This is Dixon Edwards. Watch him come in and blow this thing up. He just blows up Allstott, and then he tries to wrap up Rhett, and then Allstott keeps his feet turning. But, I mean, that's what they have got to do.
A very quick first quarter. The only points belong to Tampa Bay. We head to the second quarter in the Twin Cities. Bucks up by 7. Back at the University of Minnesota from 1973 to 1976, a 2-time Golden Gopher MVP. He finished his college career as the school's all-time passing yardage leader. After moving to a defensive back as a professional, Dungy became a defensive coach, spending 4 seasons. The Vikings defensive coordinator under Denny Green. 3rd down and 10. Dilfer trying to set up a screen, and there's nothing there. One word before we say goodbye for now to the Tampa Bay offense. They are taking Jim Pine for x-rays. We ought to see a lot of Chrisman and Diaz on the offensive line in front of Trent Dilfer today.
Yeah, and right there, that's where the guards hurt him, them being out, because Randall was in the backfield so fast that Dilfer was backpedaling at like warp speed. Never had time to set up the screen.
Tommy Barnhart to punt with David Palmer waiting deep. Averaging over 10 yards per punt return this season. Beautiful punt. Palmer from inside the 20. Looking for room to run. He crosses the 20, brought down to the 24. And after a 46-yard punt with a hang time of 5 seconds, good coverage by this Tampa Bay punt cover team. They are number 2 in the NFL in punt coverage, best in the NFL in kick coverage.
Well, it sure helps you when you have a 5-0 hang time. I mean, when your punter's booming that ball and it hangs up there in the air for 5 seconds, and the guys can get down there. Because you figure a punt is about 40, 42, 45 yards. and then the guys are running at 4.540. That's why the 40 time is so important. You run a 4.540, and it's up there for 5 seconds. They're down there waiting for the punt to come down.
And who's there waiting for Palmer? John Lynch. What more do you want out of that guy? They have 6 starters on their coverage teams. First down for Minnesota. Now Johnson sets up the screen to Amp Lee. Chidiahana do great work in the tackle at the 25.
Great work, and great work all year. A word you can use for Chidiahana is solid. He's been very solid player, very consistent player for them all year. Watch him come upfield, and see, he sees it's a screen. He smells it out, and he starts backpedaling, and he almost picked the thing off. But he's a guy that's been, overlooked in this defense, and he's been consistent against the run, the pass. He's got 5.5 sacks, and he's a football player. I mean, he snipped the screen out, and he ran out there after it.
Oh, shit.
Somebody didn't like that. Second down and 9 over the middle. What a catch, Jake Reed. You talk about spectacular catches. You have Carter and then mix in Jake Reed. You see some beauties with the Vikings.
A lot of times, that's what you give up when you zone blitz. Watch here. That's Ahana. He's dropping back into coverage. Then you bring Hardy Nickerson up. Hardy has to be able to get there. Because when you have a defensive lineman back there in coverage, that's going to hurt you.
There are not a lot of wide receivers who will stretch out for a pass like that over the middle. Reed made the catch, good for 18. Brad Johnson has started out 10 out of 11. The hand to Scotty Graham. He gets to the 45, a gain of 2. Hardy Nickerson there to make the stop for the Buccaneers.
A natural runner, too. Third catch of the day for Byers. And a first down at the 45-yard line.
The Pro Bowl thing is always the thing that the year before, if you had a great year, then you go the next year. That's the way it works. And Hardy's numbers haven't been fabulous this year. They were actually better last year. He got off to a slow start learning this new defense. But his leadership ability to this defense and what he brings to the team is Pro Bowl caliber.
Second down and 8. Johnson incomplete, and only his second incompletion of the game. And Brad Johnson a little hot. Derek Brooks made the stop.
Derek Brooks is a fabulous player, fabulous linebacker. Here's a linebacker that leads this team in passes defended. Most people have this safety or a corner or something like that. That's a linebacker. Now, he didn't go to the Pro Bowl because he doesn't have many sacks. He has a bunch of tackles, and he leads this team in passes defended. And on top of that, Joe, he's everywhere. Around the ball, if you ever take a picture of the ball and where it stops, you'll find 55 out there.
Third down and 8. Play action. Johnson time over the middle, overshoots Reed, and he had him wide open. Brad Johnson had Jake Reed, and he overshot Reed, and it's time for Minnesota to punt again.
And there's some pressure up front. Brad didn't have the time he wanted. The safeties didn't bite on the play action pass, and they got back into coverage, and Johnson just hadn't had the find. I'm telling you, I think Minnesota's made a mistake by coming out here trying to throw the ball all day.
Yet every time they try to run, not much happens. Berger to punt, gets rid of it from the 35 and gets into it. Over the head of Williams, it'll take a hop and go into the end zone. So for the Vikings, their 4th straight drive ending in a punt. Berger's been busy. Tampa Bay leads by 7. To the Metrodome, Tampa Bay trying to do to Minnesota what they did a week ago to Washington. That is play the role of the spoilers. So far, so good.
So I think one of the things you have to look at here with this Tampa Bay team is the maturity of these guys. It's a young group, both offensively and defensively, and they're playing with an extreme amount of maturity.
Now get off my lap. Let's play football. 1st and 10 from their own 20. A hand to Eric Rett. Big hit at the 20, thrown backward. Dixon, Edwards, Roberts, Griffith. They were all there for Minnesota. You know who else is there? James Brown. He's in Hollywood. On the McDonald's Game Break, our Fox Television Center.
All right, Joe, take a look at Dick and Bill Moss.
Thank you, James Brown. From their own 20, it's 2nd down and 10. Dilfer. Poor throw, uncatchable. And Dilfer gets up after Derek Alexander put big heat on the Tampa Bay quarterback.
Yeah, one of the key components in this offense today is Jackie Harris. They've got to get him the ball. Do you like the matchup of Jackie Harris on Darryl Talley? But here, he gets shucked right away and then never really finishes working. He gets tangled up, but there's no separation out of the break. I mean, he's got to be able to get off that linebacker at the line of scrimmage and be effective and help this offense out.
Darryl Talley coming back from a knee injury. So far, he's handled Jackie Harris. Now it's Dixon Edwards lining up across from Harris as he splits out, and they hand a Rhett, and that's nothing. Make it Ellison, and it's time for Tampa Bay to punt. Alexander again in a very good series for the second-year pro from Florida State. So the handoff on a delay to Jerry Ellison, and there was Derek Alexander, a loss of 1. And Barnhart will get rid of it from near his own end zone. David Palmer waiting deep for Minnesota, and the Vikings ought to get great field position. Good snap, and another beautiful punt. Palmer, the fair catch inside the 40, and that's where the Vikings will start with it. 43-yard punt, hang time of 4.5 seconds. Minnesota gets it back down 7. Arizona, and they're back in the playoffs. Last year they did not make it. Horde back to the running game, and a nice gain on first down. John Lynch wrapped him up, but they got about 5.
Now, when you shoot gaps, I want you to watch right here. When you shoot the gaps, that's what's going to happen. That's Marcus Jones. That's the other rookie first-round defensive line draft choice for him. And when you're shooting gaps, that's what you give up, is the run gap responsibility.
Horde got 4, second down and 6. Cut back and right up the middle. He's got a first down near midfield.
Back say, you know, they don't have very many big-name guys.
Right.
You know, recognize me now?
It's going to happen again. He chooses a side. And then Christie just lets him choose the side and push him right out of the hole. And Horde has the patience of when he gets the ball to sit there. He's sitting there with a little bit of patience and waiting for the holes to open up. Then he takes it.
Leroy Horde was the starting fullback for the AFC in the 94 Pro Bowl. As a Cleveland Brown from 1990 to 95. This year he's been with 3 different organizations, and he likes Minnesota. They like him. He's to the 45-yard line of Tampa Bay.
Eric Williams is a flat-out, get-in-your-face, pound you into the
hole. He pounds it up there with a lot of effort, a lot of force. And you see what Minnesota's doing is they found out, they figured out that, hey, maybe we made a mistake. Or, hey, guys, you have to get them on the sidelines, and it's a mentality. Running the ball is a mentality. You have to get your offensive line together and say, we've got to maul them. It's on your shoulders.
Second down and 5. To the sideline, wide open. That's Carter inside the 30. Mayhew with the late tackle, good for 17. Johnson now 11 out of 14 for over 70 yards.
And I can't help but think that running the ball opens things up. Now look at the cushion Mayhew gives Carter. And he gets him turned around. And just as he gets him turned around, he slams on the brakes and comes back. And that's a nice out by Brad Johnson.
Chris Carter, a guy who was waived by Philadelphia and Buddy Ryan in 1990. The quote being, all he wants to do is catch touchdown passes. Well, gosh darn it, let's get rid of him. Here's Amp Lee. He's inside the 25. And a nice gain of 5 yards on first down. Derek Brooks made the stop.
Obviously, Buddy Ryan didn't play fantasy football.
No, touchdowns. What more do you want? I mean, isn't that the end goal of this thing?
Yeah, I think that's the objective.
About 8:15 left to go in the first half. Tampa Bay out in front by 7. Minnesota with their deepest penetration at the Tampa Bay 24. Johnson has started out hot. Add to his numbers. Amp Lee inside the 10 with a first down near the 5.
Now what you have is a problem when you get 5 receivers out. The tight end's out, the receivers are out, and then you get Lee circles around and it just comes underneath the linebackers. And that's a nice pass by Johnson. And he had all these other receivers downfield taking the DBs back with him, giving him a cushion underneath there.
The number 1 rated quarterback, absolutely red hot. The Vikings looking to tie on this drive. Horde. Leroy Horde, touchdown Vikings.
I told you he runs hard.
Second touchdown is a Viking for Leroy Horde, and he took a couple of hits along the way, but he was not going to be stopped. And now to tie it, it's Scott Sisson. Good snap, good hold, good kick, and we're tied. 7-play drive covering 61 yards. They're getting everything they need out of Brad Johnson, and a 5-yard touchdown run from Leroy Horde.
Wendy's, where
Over to Watson, right side. Dixon, here's Corey Stringer, and this is DeLong, and it's not Hunter. But watch the push they get. I mean, they're just pushing everybody back. And then there's a whiff by the safeties.
On that drive, Horde over 6 yards per carry. 4 carries, 21 yards, and a touchdown. Mitch Berger kicks it away. Carl Williams from the 4. Right up the gut, Williams. Crosses the 40. And is that Mitch Berger again in on the tackle? Corey Fuller was there, but it's Berger again, man. He's going to be the first one to the hot tub after this game. He made a tackle on a punt. He makes a tackle on a kickoff. He's going to want to renegotiate. 975 pounds on the right side of that
That's
line.
huge. I mean, they got to have a construction company get him a new bench. And if the holidays come along, what does 975 mean? That's equivalent to 7.5 reindeer, 195 fruitcakes, and the entire cast of the 12 days of Christmas. Gives you 975 pounds.
First down and 10 for Tampa Bay. Allstott all alone in the flat. A little juggle and partially breaks the tackle of Robert Griffith. Falls forward for a gain of 3.
And part of the reason for the Tampa Bay success offensively and the maturity and the emergence of Dilfer has been because of Allstott. I mean, he's a security blanket. When they drop back to pass, if he sees too deep zone, bang. He knows right where to go, out to the flat to Allstott. And Allstott's always going to fight for a yard or two. Look, he's got his hands down there. You know, he's got like 4 legs. 2 of them come out of his shoulder pads.
He's got 4 legs and 2 catches. The only 2 completions for Trent Dilfer so far. Penalty flags.
Ty.J. Armstrong called for the false start. Well, tonight on...
And they'll mark off 5.
False start. Prior to the snap, number 40. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Now, when Tampa Bay first played Minnesota down in Tampa Bay earlier in the season, it was a big matchup between middle linebacker Jeff Brady and fullback Allstott. And both of them are like identical personalities, except one plays offense and one plays defense. And actually, it correlates. That position, you could interchange those guys. You could put Brady over there at fullback and put Allstott at linebacker. You'd have the same guy.
Second down and 12. Dumping it off to Allstott, nothing. Dixon Edwards was first there. Derek Alexander helped, a loss of 5. And Allstott would have been better off just dropping that pass.
You know, we talked to Brady, and Brady said, hey, if Allstott catches the ball in the flat, Boge is going to explode on the sideline. So the first thing he said Wednesday when he came into meetings, he slammed his hand down on the desk, and he says, expletive, deletive, blah, 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 blah. If he catches the ball in the flat, I'm going to shoot somebody. And these guys, the Vikings defense know, hey, if he's going to catch the ball out there, we've got to surround him.
He's made 3 catches today, 61 on the year, second among NFL rookies to Terry Glenn. Third down and 17, Dilfer sacked. Dixon Edwards, Martin Harrison.
Dixon Edwards having a big game today, Joe. He is having himself a good game.
Heard a groan from the crowd. Off the swing, and it's Smith, though, is able to break tackles.
Been very effective today. He lines up at middle linebacker position, then he finds the spot in the crease and just kind of mirrors Dilfer. Where he goes, he's going to follow him.
Tampa Bay lost 16 yards on that possession. And they now have -8 passing yards here in the first half. Again, good field position coming up for Minnesota. And again, a good punt from Barnhart. Palmer from the 25 to the 35 and beyond. Tripped up and brought down at the 37-yard line. Take a break, come back. Minnesota has it back. They've tied it. Now they look for the Bay, Carolina, Dallas. They're all division leaders. San Francisco, Philadelphia, Minnesota right now controlling their own destiny. Meanwhile, Washington needing a lot of help. They play later today at Arizona. They lose, they're out. Not only if they lose, they're out. If they lose, Philadelphia and Minnesota are in. First down and 10 for the Vikings. They swing it out to Horde. All alone on this side of the field and into Buccaneer territory. The 10th first down of the first half.
Where is Enterprise?
14 yards.
And that's a new wrinkle. That's something we haven't seen. Drop back the pass and just out in the flat, and there's nobody out in the flat to pick Horde up. You line up in run formation, and you're defensively, you're thinking about stopping them. You know, linebackers are thinking about shutting down the middle of that attack, and then bang, it's out in the flat, and there's no backer out there to help.
One thing you can see early, my first time looking at Brad Johnson, first person as you look at Jake Reed, everything short from Brad Johnson is dead on. I mean, little touch passes, dumping it over the linebackers. That swing pass to Horde was right in stride, and this throw to Jake Reed for another first down.
And everything is short. I mean, that's where he's very accurate, is with the short pass.
Jake Reed got 18. He has 4 catches for 53 yards. Reed has a wrap on his right thigh, and he limps off the field of play as Leroy Horde walks right through the middle of the Tampa Bay defense. Just brought down short of a first down.
Right now, when you buy.
And that's easy to do when you get a block from your fullback like that. That's Charles Evans on Hardy Nickerson, and he led the way that time. That's the I formation, and they come blowing up the gut, and you get your fullback on the linebacker, and see Brooks is pushed out of the way by Corey Stringer, and when you get your linebackers kicked out of there.
Second down and a couple. Easy for Amp Lee, and right now the offensive line for Minnesota is taking over.
They're getting the linebackers pushed out of there. And that time I saw, again, Brooks and Hardy Nickerson were shoved out of the middle of the defense.
To be honest,
Malloy, he finally gets lower than Emmett.
Right.
So watch the right shoulder.
Emmitt Smith attacks the tackler. This is the first time that the tackler got as low as he did, and that was over the shoulder.
All right, Aikman now with a 3rd and about 4, going with the 4 wideouts. Off the play fake, in trouble. Can't find anybody and just throws it away. In the area.
Picked off. Yes, it is. So a couple of turnovers have stopped the Vikings here in the first half off the hands of Ismail. I think the second Minnesota turnover, we'll see who comes down with it.
Well, you see, they try to spread the field, and then Ismail stops underneath, but he makes the catch, and then he gets hit.
Dimry with the interception, his second of the year.
He loses the ball, and he tries to regain possession of it, and as he gets a hand on it, he gets whacked. And Dimry comes up with a pick.
One of the extra defensive backs, Tony Bowie, injured on the play. Dimry comes away with a pick, and the Buccaneers take over. Hands to Eric Retz. Bouncing it outside. He is shy of the 15. Tripped up after a 6-yard gain. 2-minute warning here in the first half. And our Aflac trivia question is, in 1979, Tony Dungy was traded from the 49ers to the Giants for what current NFL head coach? Good question. He was traded from the 49ers to the Giants for what current NFL head coach? 49ers traded Tony Dungy and Mike Hogan to the Giants for Jimmy Robinson and Ray Rhodes, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Both Ray Rhodes and the Eagles and Dennis Green and the Vikings hoping that at the end of the day they will know they are in the playoffs. Second down and 4. 2 minutes left. Each team with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Eric Rett hit in the backfield, fighting for yards, and he is a couple yards short of a first down as the clock continues to run. He got 2, and that's now 16 total yards of offense for the Buccaneers.
Well, he was lucky to get 2, Joe. Look at the people in the box here. Here's your deep threat right there. That's all they got. There's nobody back in here. They have stacked the line. They've got 10 people up there.
So Tampa Bay with negative 8 yards through the air, 24 yards on the ground. Their only first down was the touchdown run by Rett, and yet they're tied 7-7. Third down and a couple. Rett fighting for it, and it depends on the spot.
That's going to be close.
That is really close. It just depends on where the referee spots the football. And right now, they immediately signal fourth down, and Tampa Bay is going to have to punt. Minnesota should call a timeout. Why would Minnesota sit around and let this time run off the clock and not, finally? They spend a timeout, and they just let roughly 15, 20 seconds run off the clock. Very poor clock management by the Vikings. They'll get it back with good field on the league. Also, don't miss Fox NFL Sunday's Choice Cuts, which features all the best plays from the last week in the NFL.
Ineligible downfield early on the kicking team, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, fourth down.
All that and more coming up on the Dockers Khaki halftime report. You could really, if you're Minnesota, look at this one of 2 ways. Do you want to make them punt again and waste the time? Or do you hope for a big return out of Palmer, who will now wait at the 50? But so far, Tommy Barnhart has been a big part of this game with one good punt after another.
Well, if you're Minnesota, you'd like to get 3 points out of it before half because you deserve it. You've moved the ball down the field. You've put up a bunch of offensive yards, but you've come up short in the scoreboard.
This punt not as good. It's Palmer from his own 48. Another penalty flag. A big return. Palmer down the sideline. Forced out of bounds by Lonnie March, but again a penalty flag on the play. 40-yard punt, 45-yard return, but
you have a holding against Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to stand. So everything is working against Minnesota. They get the good return, but they have the penalty, and now there's only 22 seconds left. So a killer penalty for the Vikings. They wasted time calling their first timeout. Then they make Tampa Bay punt again. They get the return, but the penalty, and now they're only 22 seconds left.
And throwing the ball. I mean, the throwing the ball is what's got them 2 interceptions and really kept them limited to 7 points.
Holding on the receiving team during the kick. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
Not from the end of the kick return, but from where the punt was taken. So Minnesota will take over inside their own 40.
And that hurt them, Joe. And you never want to say never, but it'd be ironic if they got 3 points out of this. Should we take a look at the hold? It was back at the very beginning of the punt.
Flag came in very early. And now with 22 seconds left in the half and 2 timeouts remaining for Minnesota, they try to get into Scott Sisson's field goal range. He does not have a big leg. Johnson in trouble. Gets to the 44, and that's it. He'll spend a timeout brought down by Culpepper. And now with 13 seconds left, Brad Johnson of the Vikings will have it at their own 44.
Joe, he nearly lost the ball there. And they've been self-destructing, actually.
Well, tonight on Ned and Stacy, what do you say when your wife wants to date a billionaire? How about go for it? Love is in the air on a brand new Ned and Stacy tonight at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, right here on Non-Stop Fox. All new X-Files, Ned and Stacy. Here's Warren Moon. How about a word about Warren Moon? This it could be the final year where Warren Moon went into the year thinking he's the guy. He's 40 years old, and if he is going to play anymore, it probably isn't going to be in Minnesota if they re-up with Brad Johnson.
And I doubt it's going to be in a starting role. At least going into the season it won't be.
What a career he's had. On second down, Johnson rolling and brought down from behind by Sapp, his 7th sack. And that should just about do it for the half. So missed opportunities here at the end of the first half for Minnesota. And that should be the final play.
You know what's amazing, Joe, is that Tampa Bay has about 17 yards of offense, and they're in this ballgame.
They're in this ballgame. Not only are they in it, they're tied. 7-7 at the half. That is the end of the first half with the score, Minnesota 7, Tampa Bay 7. JB and Terry will be along from the Fox Television Center. The Dockers Khakis halftime.
With the way he controls the puck, they have no...
Him to kill penalties. Will that take the edge off his offensive game?
Oh, Betty, you're such a worrier.
Can you make it look like this?
All we can do is try.
The NHL All-Star Game, Saturday, January 18th, only on Fox.
Man, is this life. Out here enjoying a great outdoor, getting a little exercise. Just having some time to myself, meeting some real nice folks. I couldn't ask for any more. And it's a beautiful day.
Lisa has a crush on the bad boy of Springfield.
Hey, Willie, catch the football!
All right. But can she turn this outlaw into the perfect gentleman?
I feel like such a tool.
The Simpsons.
The first kiss. It's not a shut her up.
A brand new episode tonight at 8, 7 Central.
Fox takes you deep into the heart of Texas.
Ah, my arm! Ah, my head!
For King of the Hill, premiering January 12th.
And welcome back to the Doctors Halftime. As the season winds to a climactic finish, you can rest assured that the plays on the field have been just as intense. With that, our producer Scott Atkinson's Choice Cuts.
And the throw. Oh, it's picked up on the deflection by Eric Davis.
Thanks. Myers across the middle has Bruce. Oh, to Kennison. Looking lateral. What a play. On Hill, and the Dungeons around a big hole. All the way out to midfield.
Crawford gets outside the 45-40, down the sideline, breaks his ankle to the 35, to the 30, 25-20, pulls down the middle of the 10 to the 5, and barely pulled out from behind.
Into the end zone for Walls, and it's caught for a touchdown.
Catch. Marino going up top to Fred Barnett, and he makes the catch.
Gunn going deep again. And this time he's got Jim Rice.
Michael Irvin, and he's going to score. Michael Irvin into the end zone. Touchdown, Dallas.
Hands again to Green. He makes the catch, and it's down for a touchdown.
Back in the pocket.
He's got to get rid of the ball. He got rid of it. He throws it wide open.
Touchdown.
John had it 11 in a row. He throws the pass, caught by Owens, but the quick move down the sideline, and Owens is gone for a touchdown.
Fox, home of Super Bowl 31.
See your local Southern Ford dealer for the incredible $299 a month lease on Explorer today. And that's just one of the fantastic deals going on during the Classic Sale at your local Southern Ford dealer.
What do you see?
Just a bunch of stuff from Staples.
A brother label maker. I could use that. All right, a brother fax. Oh, a brother typewriter. A water gun.
Busted.
Get Brother products at the guaranteed low price and 7,000 other great gift ideas. Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
Traveling to see old friends. Friends of my youth. They are watching, whispering. Telling you man is small. Telling you future lies in the past. We drink a toast to the trees and savor this wine and this place.
Dodge cars and trucks have followed a very straight path this year, straight up, with sales climbing to all-time highs on practically every Dodge we sell. And with the Dodge year-end event offering substantial cash back or low interest rates or other exceptional deals, there is simply no telling what heights the new Dodge will reach. The best Dodge sales year ever ends very soon. Don't miss it.
Happy holidays, everybody, from the Fox 13 Eyewitness Sports Gang. Oh.
She played quarterback, she played running back, wide receiver, she played everything. She's also the hiker.
She's the best I've ever seen.
When she gets that ball, she runs with it.
You got two choices. Play with her, play against her.
Be quick,
Someone once told her she plays like a girl.
Nice voice, then. Thanks.
Never seen anything like it.
It's anybody's game.
Well, it's a 7-7 game at the half here at the Metrodome, but you look at the numbers, you'd never think it was a 7-7 game. And welcome back to our little booth here at the Metrodome. Joe Buck and Bill Maas. And Bill, so far for Tampa Bay, their offense has done little or nothing. Turnovers have hurt Minnesota, but it's hard to believe a Tampa Bay team that rushed for nearly 210 yards against Washington a week ago has rushed for only 25 yards in the first half today.
Well, that's it. That's the NFL. You do something good one week, it's hard to do it again the second week. And a big part of it's been the guards. I mean, Beckles is out with a back injury, and, you know, then you get the Pine gets hurt, so then you have two backups come in. And I think that's been a big thing for them. They haven't gotten any push up front of the line. I mean, you have guys up there jamming things up. John Rand, although I haven't called his name with tackles or anything, he has been stuffing the plays up the middle. The push isn't there from last week.
There's a good look at John Randall, who will be headed back to the Pro Bowl. But when you talk about Minnesota and what they're trying to accomplish today, they are looking for a win against Tampa Bay. Now, if they win today and Washington loses later today at Arizona, they are in the playoffs. And like we talked about at the top of the day, a lot of stuff comes out of Minnesota about Dennis Green, about this organization. But the bottom line is, maybe today, maybe next week, they will get into the playoffs for the fourth time in his 5 years as head coach here. What more do you want?
You can't ask for much more. And like you said, negative stuff. You always hear, you know, Lou Holtz is coming here, and you hear, you know, the problems off field, the problems on field. They're not active in free agency. As a matter of fact, they've taken a big hit because of free agency. They've been limited with the players they can get, and I think that year in and year out that Dennis Green and his coaching staff does a great job of putting this team in a situation to reach the playoffs.
One key free agent that they have to keep, it looks more and more like, is Brad Johnson. Evidently, he and his agent turned down roughly a $10 million deal, $2.5 million a year for 4 years. You hear rumors around here today that the Vikings have upped that offer, and they are going to have to, because if Brad Johnson tests the open market, he may get $3.5, $4 million a year. When you watch him work today, everything is dead on with this guy. It's right in the hands. Little short passes, swing passes. He's been a big reason why they're even thinking about the playoffs.
You know, it's amazing, though. You start for half a year. You've been a perennial backup. I mean, Casey Weldon, the backup for Tampa Bay, beat you out in college, and you became a backup there as well. And you play a half a season in the NFL, and you have a team that's on the verge of possibly going to the playoffs. Your contract's up, bang. They're offering you $14 million.
We get ready for the opening kickoff to the second half. Mitch Berger of the Vikings will kick it to Carl Williams. Ugly kick. And it will head out of bounds. So that is not a good start. Mitch Berger, who has had, well, he's been in on some tackles. And
oh, he's got the other one taped up, too. See? Remember, he only had one arm taped up, but then after he made his second tackle, he had to go tape up the other arm.
Or maybe his balance was a little off because he just kicked it out of bounds, and Tampa Bay will start with it. Their own 40. Look at the numbers. -8 passing yards for Tampa Bay. 17 total yards to the Vikings, 166. But the turnovers big, Bill, and a reason why we're still tied 7-7.
Turnovers, time of possession, everything in the favor of the Vikings. But I think they made their mistake, Joe, like I said earlier, as they came out thinking they could throw the ball. And this is still a young quarterback. Run the ball, pick his passes, high percentage passes.
Tampa Bay's longest drive today, 3 plays. Dilfer, sidestep pressure, airs it out, has Thomas. Rob Thomas can't hang on. He came back for the ball. He was behind Wayne Washington, and the pass incomplete.
Well, you have to take your shots. You have to take your shots. And you know they're playing a lot of man-to-man coverage on the wide receivers. Now, the thing here is Washington has a history of peeking at the quarterback. But what the problem is, the ball's underthrown. Because Robbie Thomas had him beat down the sidelines, and the ball was just underthrown.
This is very close to pass interference. Washington, I guess, got his head around and played the ball a little, but Thomas popped up and had a legitimate argument for a penalty flag, didn't get it. He still looks stunned. Thomas out. Alvin Harper checks in. 2nd and 10. Allstott picks his way to the 45. And a 3rd and 5 coming up.
And that's what I'm talking about with Allstott. You know, you made fun of me, Joe. I said he has 4 legs. But, you know, a lot of other backs in this situation go down on a 2-yard gain. I want you to watch Allstott pop in the hole. See him? Now, that's the 3rd leg came down. That 3rd leg hit the ground and got him an extra 2 yards.
The amazing thing is he can carry the ball
with the
in
4th
his leg.
Yeah, it does a pretty good job with that, doesn't it?
Unbelievable. Allstott, 3 carries, 9 yards. He got 5 on that one. 3rd and 5. Dilfer pressured, penalty flag as the completion is to Williams. Working on Fuller, but this is in the area of holding, and it will be. So a gain of 9 will be negated. And this will cost Tampa Bay what would have been only their 2nd first down of the day. Reading lips, it was Tony Mayberry that was guilty, number 61.
You're a heck of a lip reader, Joe.
Well, Walt's mic isn't working right now, so you have to improvise.
Now, this watch where they have John Randall lined up. He's on the outside against Odom. I mean, they want to get this guy free. See the pressure he gets to push in that pocket? I mean, Randall is a guy that, you try to create matchups for him. And wherever the matchups are is where you have to put him. And, again, they have him lined up outside.
The hold came on Tony Mayberry trying to keep Derek Alexander out of the backfield. Now 3rd and 15. Dilfer steps up, dumps it off. The pass behind Ellison, time to punt. So Tampa Bay's offense has done absolutely nothing. Fernando Smith with pressure.
Hey, watch John Randall. John Randall is hanging on Dilfer's arm. Now, I told you they line up outside. He's in a 2-point stance. That means he's standing up. And he gets the push around Odom, lowers that shoulder, and turns the corner. And he's pulling his arm down as he tries to deliver the pass.
Tommy Barnhart to punt yet again. David Palmer waiting for Minnesota. Decent punt. Palmer from around the 20. Lynch can't hang on, and Palmer crossed the 30 out to the 33. 45-yard punt, 13-yard return. Good hang time from Barnhart, over 4.5 seconds.
Here.
to my garage. Go ahead, look around. That is the original 240Z. It's a real beauty. This is the first small truck in America. Dogs love trucks. I'm over here.
Whoa, but this thing hauls.
It won 3 consecutive world championships.
Cool.
Any car can get you where you need to go. A special car gets you there with a smile on your face. Remember, young man, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Nissan to remind you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. By Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. By Black & Decker. Any job, anywhere, anytime. And by IBM. Season's greetings to a small planet from everyone at IBM.
We are ready for the first possession of the second half of the Minnesota offense after the Minnesota defense, led by the Pro Bowler, John Randall, did its job yet again. 1st and 10 from their own 34. And it's Leroy Horde. Runs into Hardy Nickerson, who had help from Mincy, Charles Mincy, helping from the secondary, a gain of 3. It's really a tale of 2 halves for Horde in the first half, have and have not. First quarter, 6 carries, 9 yards. In the second quarter, a 6-yard average. 5 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. 2nd and 7. Over the middle, that's the tight end DeLong. He is the short for first down.
I think earlier in the season for the Minnesota Vikings, it was safe to say that their offense relied solely on Carter and Reed. And Warren Moon would sit in the pocket. He just heaved the ball out to him, and those were the only 2 guys that caught the ball, and it was really their only offense. But since Brad's come in, the ball's really been spread around. Everybody's getting in the mix.
2 tight ends in the lineup on 3rd and 3. Johnson on the quarterback keeper, crosses midfield. Phil, he's been doing a lot of that on 3rd down, and that was a 12-yard gain and a quarterback keeper.
You know, when you have nobody in the backfield, there's not a running back here. Here's Amp, and he's over to the side, and then you know that Reagan Upshaw is going to jump upfield thinking to pass. But when you have nobody in the backfield or a back offset like that, it's 3rd down, you think it's a pass.
Brad Johnson, 2 carries, 17 yards, a first down on the last one. Steps up over the middle, and he overthrows Jake Reed. Reed, who was hobbling around in the first half with a bad right thigh. Looks like he's moving around a little better, but no one could catch up to that throw.
One of the things you think when you think about Minnesota, and, you know, we've talked about how they've matured as late. You know, that time, Joe, they had 5 receivers out in pass routes. And, you know, they come back, and then they'll hit you with 2 running backs. And then they'll come back in, and they can do so many things. I think it's so much more of a complete offense now.
2nd down and 10. That's Amp Lee. Picks his way inside the 45. Brought down at the 43. He got 3, and a 3rd and 7 coming up.
I'm talking to Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator for them. And one of the things that he wanted to do today was keep Monty Kiffin on his toes. Now, Monty Kiffin is the defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay. And what he means by that is he's going to use a lot of personnel groupings. Personnel groupings is like 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, 2 running backs, or 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receiver sets. And he wants Monty to try to keep matching it.
Blitz coming. Melvin Johnson from the safety spot. That is aired out and picked off by Donnie Abraham. Safety blitz. It was Melvin Johnson, and Brad Johnson threw it up for grabs. And Donnie Abraham, the rookie, comes away with his 5th interception. That's 3 turnovers for the Vikings.
Watch, again, from deep. Here comes the blitz. They ran it before. It was the same blitz. And what Monty Kiffin has done is an excellent job of selecting when to blitz.
Tampa Bay gets it back. Their defense is trying to keep them in the game.
Have you seen the elf? It's hiding behind this card. The elf.
The world's smallest 2-time zoom camera. The big news in the advanced photo system.
Have you seen the elf?
New from Canon.
Can MasterCard predict the future? Well, someday a computer chip in your MasterCard will be able to recognize your finger pattern, making your personal ID truly personal and your MasterCard even more secure. MasterCard, it's smart money.
Tonight's story, Christmas in Crisis.
No pudding. Come, let me survive.
Claus' broken leg leaves Christmas in jeopardy. But the real victims here are the children. Phone calls.
Vad med julafton och där?
Gi mig en dag. Vår egen webbsite. Ring til IBM. Vi har fått Lotus Domino. Designere, fabrikanter, distributører må jobbe sammen. Alle forsvarlig tilkoblet databaser over internett. Lotus Domino. Og akkurat tidsnok til julaften. Nå skal vi se. Den gutten fortjener ikke stort, hva? Han hjelper moren sin, da. Ja, men da skal han da få en fin gave av meg.
A billionaire wants to date Ned's wife.
Tell that helicopter guy to meet us on the roof.
Ned and Stacy.
Thanks! I had a really great time!
A brand new episode tonight.
There's the personnel groupings we're talking about for the Vikings offense, the last 8 plays. Look at the different ones. 2 tight ends, 1 tight end, 2 running backs, so on. And Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator for the Bucs, says, heck, you know, all that personnel changing, sometimes it tips off tendencies. So last play, he blitzed them. I mean, he must have knew that it was a tendency, and he blitzed it, and he guessed right.
From their own 14, a first down for Tampa Bay. Dilfer throws, and it's caught by Thomas. About a yard short of a first down, covered by Dwayne Washington.
You know, when they do throw the ball, they go right at Dwayne Washington. You remember back to the first game these two teams played, it was Dwayne Washington that got beat for the touchdown. This is the first game. This is Dwayne Washington, and this is a touchdown with Rob Thomas. He guesses. He has a tendency to jump things, look back at the quarterback, and he got beaten. That's what beat the Vikings down in Tampa Bay.
Vikings had a big day offensively, but couldn't get the ball in the end zone. Here's Allstott, breaking free, trying to outrun a defender. He can't get behind Washington, can't get to the end zone, but he's to the Minnesota 37. By far his longest run from scrimmage, which had been 13 yards, that was 40.
Watch Allstott the middle. This is a trap play. You're going to see a pull right here. This is Crispin on the pull that leads this trap. And it's right up the gut. Now, Orlando Thomas has a shot at him and just gets rolled over. And he didn't even need a third leg there.
Dilfer trying to change the play at the line of scrimmage. Gets it off. Throws to Allstott. Why not? Knocked out of bounds at the Minnesota 31 by Corey Fuller. That was good for 7.
And Foge doesn't like watching him catch the ball in the flat. You know, the one thing about the Tampa Bay Bucs is that when you look at them, you know coming into the game that Allstott's the guy you have to stop. Because in my opinion, they are not a complete offense yet. They are not like the Vikings. It's a one-man show, really. They need help at wide receiver. They need a breakaway running back. And that'll help the tight end, Jackie Harris.
2nd down and 3 and flags before the play. You know, Allstott really has been it for the Buccaneers today. He has 4 catches for 8 yards.
False start prior to the snap. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
And he has 4 catches for 48 yards. This penalty on Crispin.
Yeah, and we talked about the guards at halftime. The backup guards, and it's been a lot of the problem today for the inept play of the offense for the Buccaneers.
That's the 5th Tampa Bay penalty, now 2nd and 8.
Talking about Allstott, and he's carrying his team. We talked to Tony last night. He said, do you think anybody should have been on the Pro Bowl that wasn't? He said, I don't think there's any fullback in the league that does more for their team than Allstott.
Dilfer under pressure throws and very well covered by the safety Griffith as Dilfer tried to get it to the tight end Moore. And now a Vikings player is down. That's Fernando Smith. He has been a big part of the front defensively for the Vikings, coming in with 9.5 sacks.
In Minnesota, you know, defensively, they've had their problems too with injuries throughout the season. Everybody's been injured. You know, they lost Derek Alexander with the hip, and here's Fernando Smith, number 95. Gets a hit on the quarterback and then just drops over.
Grabbing that right arm, it could be anything from a shoulder to a forearm to a wrist to a hand, whatever. They take a look at Fernando Smith. 3rd and 8 for Tampa Bay. And just before we're ready to take a commercial break, Fernando pops up.
That's the old stinger.
That'll get you.
That'll get you. You tackle at the top of your head, and it just pinches that nerve and shoots right down to your fingertips.
So now 3rd and 8 for Tampa Bay. They got the big run, 40 yards from Allstott. This has been about their average for the day on 3rd down. Dilfer steps up and throws, has Hawkins. First down inside the 20, inside the 15, forced out of bounds by Orlando Thomas. That was good for 22 and a Tampa Bay first down.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a heck of a throw by Dilfer and a great catch by Hawkins. I want you to watch this. You see Robert Griffith come up, and he knows right away to jump the small stuff underneath. And that was Harlan Barnett. But they come up to jump the underneath stuff, and they still can't do it. Then Odom does a great job containing Randall, and you know, that's the guy you have to contain. Smith is out, and emphasis is on stopping Randall.
Dilfer stumbles as he hands to Rhett, who gets to the 9. A 4-yard gain and a 2nd and 6 coming up for Tampa Bay. So while the offense has sputtered and really done nothing for Tampa Bay up until this drive, Dennis Green's offense has been able to move the ball, but a couple of key turnovers. It's same song, second verse from the first meeting between these two teams on October 13th in Tampa. Vikings had over 400 yards on offense and lost. Dilfer to the end zone, incomplete. Dave Moore, the intended receiver. And now 3rd and 6.
Well, Dilfer did a nice job right there of putting the ball where only Moore could catch it. You know, a lot of times you've seen earlier in the season and last year, you know, Dilfer wouldn't put this ball in the right spot. He has time and sets up. Now watch, I want you to take a look at where the safety closed on that Griffith. You see, if he had thrown the ball right into his hands, Griffith would have picked it off.
Now 3rd and 6. Dilfer sacked again. Former Buccaneer Jeff Brady.
Again, it's the guards. I want you to take a look. Brady is over top of Christman. And he comes on the rush. And he just keeps fighting and scrapping and pushes his way through everybody.
The first full sack of the year for Brady, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And now Husted will try the 36-yard field goal to put Tampa Bay on top. Perfect. Husted is good. And the Buccaneers take the lead. They've done nothing all day offensively, but they lead by 3.
Welcome to Spirit of the Game, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, with low fares on every flight, every seat, every day. In the NFL, sometimes it rains, sometimes it pours, and while fans often head for cover, the players refuse to cover their heads.
brutal.
I've been around this land of ours from sea to shining sea. And if it stands for anything, it's that every man is free. Free to roam from city to city, to ride the open range. Free to come and go at will, to grab hold of the reins. But if you want to see the country and its glory and its pride, you've got to have a trusty mount that's always ready to ride.
Beau pantalon.
Hey, she says nice pants. Is American for here.
Darker stone-washed khakis.
Sir, is that good here?
Oui.
Amanda throws Peter out
It's over, Peter.
and right into the arms of...
You have to watch A Brand New Melrose Place, Monday.
John Lynch, bruised hip, he will return, has 6 tackles today, and the Tampa Bay defense about ready to go back to work. You know, you play 38 minutes of football. You have one good drive offensively. That's it. And that's literally it for Tampa Bay, and they lead 10-7. Minnesota has got to be wondering what's going on. Houston kicks it away. From the 5-yard line, it's Palmer. David Palmer needs a big return, gets it across the 35. And he's brought down from behind by Tyrone Leggett, a return of 32 yards.
One area that's been strong for Minnesota, Joe, is their special teams came out today to try to make a mark against the number 1 coverage and number 2 coverage teams with the punt and kick unit of Tampa Bay. Now, the other areas on defense and offense, they've been killing themselves.
One of the backup linebackers, Jeff Gooch, he's down and being tended to. While they look at Gooch, we'll look at next Sunday. A vintage NFC Central rivalry continues as the Vikings travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Green Bay is already in the playoffs, but they're fighting for a home field advantage throughout. Minnesota, you're watching them today, and they could clinch a spot in the playoffs this afternoon. That's followed by a big day for the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. They battle at RFK, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. It's a Fox doubleheader on Fox NFL Sunday 1 week from this afternoon. Gooch able to get up and walk off under his own power as the Minnesota offense goes back to work. David Palmer shaken up as well as Brad Johnson heads to work. And talked about it earlier, Brad Johnson the last 2 weeks, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. Today, no touchdown throws, 2 interceptions.
Tony Dungy's defense, turnovers. It's followed him. Everywhere he's been, his defenses have created turnovers.
And that's really been the story of the day. Vikings have been able to move the ball up and down the field, but they've turned it over in key spots 3 times today. And now Leroy Horde gets a couple, maybe 2.5 over the right side. Now for McDonald's game break, back to JB.
And Bill Moss.
Well, who will win the NFC West? You know, San Francisco wants it. Carolina hosts Baltimore. So those 2 teams are battling in different cities, and both have records of 10-4. Of course, the tiebreaker goes to Carolina, a season sweep of the 49ers. 2nd down and 8. Johnson steps up and dumps it off incomplete. Big pressure from the rookie Reagan Upshaw and Warren Sapp.
You know, Joe, we talked about Minnesota, and they're hurting themselves. They keep shooting themselves in the foot. All those yards don't mean anything. You know, they talk about they went down last time they were in Tampa Bay. Do you remember they talk about the same things? Oh, we had 400 yards of offense, but they lost. And today they come out and they're putting up all these yardage, but they're going about it the wrong way, and they're out of their game plan. And I think when you force this youngster to pass, it plays into the hands of Tampa Bay.
Now a false start by Jake Reed on the far side of the field, and now the Vikings offense is stumbling. That'll make it 3rd and 13.
false start prior to the snap. Offense number 86. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And I like what Tampa Bay is doing defensively. I mean, when you look at them, you think, okay, Brad Johnson, he's had his success because they've been able to run the ball and pick his passes. Well, let's take the run away from him. Let's shut it down and force him into passing situations, then get after him.
And the Tampa Bay defense, as you see, shutting it down. Brad Johnson, one of his last 5. Third down, 13, and nearly picked off again, this time Nickerson.
Well, it all starts up front. I want you to watch the rush. Here comes the rush. This is a end tackle twist. And here comes Reagan Upshaw up the gut. Now, when you put that pressure into the face of Brad, it's not always going to be a good result. And then Nickerson had great coverage downfield.
Mitch Berger to punt again. Old banged up Mitch. Carl Williams waiting deep. Beautiful punt. His best of the day. And this will hit out of bounds at the 1. They mark it at the 2, and a 64-yard punt. Berger's longest of the year. Talk about a lift. He's been making tackles. He comes up with a 64-yard punt. It's Mitch's day in Minnesota.
Dad, I want a pager. A Motorola?
Really? What's in it for me?
Dad, you want me? If I'm ever late, page me. See, we can make this connection. You know? I mean, I'm never going to take it to school. I'll respond like that, and Dad, your pages come first.
You would do that for me? Would you do something else for me? Shave.
Motorola pagers to know now.
Put on a clean shirt.
Motorola, what you never thought possible.
What's more amazing than the places you can go on the internet? The fact that you don't need a computer to get there. Web TV from Philips Magnavox. The internet now on your television at an affordable price.
We've got to move fast, Kirby. I hope you booked Hertz.
Not exactly, but this company's fast. Fastest Hertz #1 club goal? Not exactly, but they do have a special place to pick up the car.
Like Hertz?
Not exactly, but it'll be waiting.
Under a canopy? With the keys in it?
Not exactly.
And protected from the weather?
Not exactly.
Counting on that promotion, Kirby?
No, not exactly.
Now Hertz gives triple frequent flyer miles on weekend and weekly rentals.
Send email, get sports scores, find dinosaurs. Is something missing? Exactly. The computer. Web TV from Philips Magnavox. The internet now on your television at an affordable price.
Our game summary is brought to you by Budweiser. Look at the offense for Tampa Bay. Only 22 yards through the air. Only 3 first downs. Minnesota moving the ball, but turnovers the key, and 1 big run from Mike Allstott. A career-high 40 yards right up the middle. And it's a 10-7 Tampa Bay lead, but they will be tested here, Bill Moss.
I'll tell you, Minnesota's defense has been, they've been playing great football. I mean, they've kept them in it, the special teams and the defense. But the offense is self-destructive for them.
From their own 2. Play action, Allstott. Not much. The safety, Griffith. He got 2.
That's exactly what Foge wants. And you take that away from them. They've been able to do it all day long. And remember the first game, the first time they played, it was a flat that killed them. There's Griffith, the guy that made that play then. He misses a tackle, and then Brady jumps on his back and gets carried into the end zone.
That was cause for a little frustration on the part of Jeff Brady. 2nd down and 8. From the 4, it's Allstott to the 6.
And Brady was pumped up to play this game. We talked to him yesterday, and he said, you know, hey, boy, yeah, you guys are all over Allstott. Everybody talks about how great he is. He was fired up to play him. He says, I'm taking this as a personal challenge. Watch Brady here. He comes up into the middle of the line thinking it's going there, then he bounces back outside because he's eyeing Allstott. He goes, I'm going to find the guy. When he gets the ball, I'm going to be around him.
3rd down and 6. Quick throw, incomplete. Thomas, the intended receiver, underthrown. Washington there for Foge, Fazio, and the Minnesota defense. And now the Vikings again ought to end up with great field position.
Well, it's your boy Berger who really has helped it out. You know, you put him in the field position here, then your defense is 3 and out, and you give the offense the ball probably inside the 50.
It's the 6th 3 and out for Tampa Bay. There's still over 4 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Barnhart, both punters have had good afternoons. Amp Lee from inside the 45. Into Tampa Bay territory, inside the Tampa Bay 45. So David Palmer banged up. Amp Lee returns one 14 yards after a 52-yard punt. Denny Green's offense trying to get it going again.
Skill Power Tools have what it takes to make jobs so easy. You'll find time to tackle all kinds of things. Skill Power Tools. Think of all the things you can do.
Fresh toppings, the soft bakery roll. Today, make it McDonald's Arch Deluxe. The great grown-up taste, the perfect holiday treat.
This is for my grandfather, who always said I'd make the family proud. For my mom, who never let me out the door without my homework. For my dad, who worked the night shift to make our lives better. For myself, for my future.
Budweiser, always brew refresh.
Where's Dad?
Go deep into the heart of Texas.
Hey, don't look at me. Watch the ball.
Here you, Dad.
For King of the Hill, premiering January 12th.
23 years ago, his sister vanished, but tonight, one man could unlock the darkest mystery in Agent Mulder's life. The X-Files, a brand new episode tonight, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, here on Fox. Tony Bowie banged up after that last punt return, checking out his right ankle. Palmer left with a bruised sternum. 2 tight ends in the game for the Vikings offense on 1st down. It's Leroy Hoare. The cutback, and it's Hardy Nickerson. First there for Tampa Bay, and a loss of 1.
And really, Joe, that's where they've been ineffective today, running the ball. And to run the ball, like I said earlier, it's a mentality. I mean, it's something that you start with early in the week. And you let the guys know we're going to pound the ball. I think early in the week, this offense knew that they're going to come out and throw the ball. And that's when your offensive line says, oh, okay, I got to sit back and pass. And you don't get the frame of mind to go out there and just play smash mouth. And I think it's affected this group today.
That's to the tight end, Jordan. He's inside the 40, and a 3rd down coming up for Minnesota. 3rd and 5.
You know, you try to throw the ball on this group, and you like the matchup because you have Carter and Reed. But, you know, defensively, they've done a great job, Tampa Bay, in defending against the pass.
Top secondaries this season, Tampa Bay right there, number 3 in the NFL.
Big play here for the Vikings.
3rd down and 5. Blitz coming from Mayhew, and the pass complete to Walsh. Chris Walsh down to the 23. Mayhew came on the blitz, and Brad Johnson got rid of it in time.
Yeah, I like the call defensively. Here comes the blitz, Mayhew. He's going to come off the nickel position. Now, I want you to watch Melvin Johnson right here. He comes up and he bites. He has a chance to make the tackle, but misses. And it could have been stopped. It could have been short of the 1st down.
God damn, idiot.
That was good for 16 yards. Leroy Horde bouncing it outside. He did not get in. Horde pleading his case. The officials talking it over. Touchdown. His second of the day, and that was from 22 yards out.
That's the power offense. That's what they've done well, and that's what's got them to this point in the season.
Horde started the year with Baltimore, went to Carolina, now in Minnesota, and a big part of the Vikings offense. Minnesota back out in front. It's a 14-10 Viking lead. 4-play drive covering 44 yards, a minute 51 off the clock, and good hard running from Leroy Horde. And able to keep his balance and just get into the end zone as he hit the pylon.
He must have slipped his toe inside because the pylon is out of bounds.
The first lead of the day for Minnesota. It's a 4-point lead with a minute 59 remaining in the third quarter. Big completion on that drive to Chris Walsh. Seldom used receiver, only his 4th catch of the season. And again, it goes back to Mitch Berger. The punt, out of bounds at the 2, the stop by the defense, the good field position, which led to the touchdown, and poof, there he is again. Mitch Berger ready to kick it to Carl Williams.
You're ready to give him a game ball, Joe.
If I had that chance, I certainly would. Berger to kick it back to Tampa Bay. Oh, he's pumped up. First one into the end zone. It's Williams from a yard deep. Tripped up, brought down to the 25. 27-yard return. And the Buccaneers taken after a tackle by Harold Moreau, one of the backup running backs. Well, next week, a vintage NFC Central rivalry continues as the Vikings head to Green Bay to take on the Packers. That is the first half of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. The second half, a good one. Cowboys at the Redskins. A rematch of the Thanksgiving Day game. It is at RFK and should be important for both teams. That one comes your way at 4 Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.
Redskins need a win out there in Arizona today.
On first down, Allstott brought down in the backfield by Robert Griffin. Loss of 3.
Now, we talked about the guards for Tampa Bay. I want you to watch Christmas. He gets jacked up here and stood up by Tualo. And that makes the whole play bounce outside instead of going upfield.
Griffith made the stop with Fuller right behind him. Second down and 13. To the sideline, caught Thomas, well short of a first down. Caught it at the 29 and a 3rd and 6. Facing Dilfer in the Bucks. Washington defending on that last play.
You know, with the guards banged up for Tampa Bay, we talked about John Randall, and they have him moving around all over the place. He's been inside over the guards, both guards. He's lined up outside at end.
From their own 29, 3rd and 6. Dilfer hit as he throws, and it's incomplete to the tight end Moore. Martin Harrison up the back of Dilfer as he got rid of it.
Well, there was some pressure there, and, you know, the offensive line struggled. We talked about it, but the ball was there, and the ball was catchable. Marty Harrison hits him just as he lets go of the ball, but the ball was on the money. Should have been caught.
Barnhart to punt again on 4th and 6. Only 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Line drive punt. Ampley from the 30 ought to get a return. Well covered. Second best in the NFL. Demetrius DeBose first there. And Ampley, a return of only 4 yards.
You know, I talked about John Randall jumping around. This is how many times he's lined up at the different defensive line positions. The 2 guards he's been over, and then the tackle. And ironically, every one of those, I said they create matchups. Every one of those positions he's lined up over is a backup player. You have Chrisman in there, Diaz, and Jason Odom starting in the place of injured Doug Rosenberg. Well, Rosenberg got injured earlier in the season, but still, I mean, my point is he's not a starter. He's a guy that, you know, they try to create situations for.
1st and 10 from their own 36. Curry off the corner with pressure as Johnson rolls. Pass is complete to the 40, caught by Chris Carter, and the whistle had blown before the ball popped out. That is the final play of the third quarter. Minnesota with their first lead of the day. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages from your local Fox station.
You're watching Nonstop Fox, where the Munsters Scary Little Christmas premieres Tuesday. Enjoy the taste of Coca-Cola Classic at Publix and celebrate Disney's magical holidays. Pick up specially marked 12-packs of Coca-Cola Classic at Publix, and you can instantly win 2 tickets to discover holidays around the world at Epcot. Experience Spectacle of Lights at Disney MGM Studios, or relive holiday fantasy at the Magic Kingdom. See details on how you can win a Walt Disney World family vacation. Remember the magic during the Walt Disney World Resort 25th anniversary, and enjoy Coca-Cola Classic at Publix. Always magical.
I don't know how he's gonna fit.
This holiday season at KFC, get 3 of our freshly prepared Colonel's Crispy Strips, mashed potatoes and gravy, coleslaw, and a biscuit for just $2.99. It's a meal everybody will love. Everybody. Or for a big family meal, get KFC's Mega Meal with 8 pieces of KFC chicken. Mix and match your choice of roasted and fried, plus 4 Colonel's Crispy Strips, 2 large side orders, 4 biscuits, and a double chocolate chip cake, all for just $15.99.
You did your job, you did it well, you gave your all and it was swell, and now it's fun time, fun in some time, on making whoopee.
The brand new DeVille for the time of your life.
Bring your new and unwrapped toys and books to Luria's
for a holiday toy and book drive.
Welcome to the start of the fourth quarter here at the Metrodome. Dennis Green and the Vikings, they win their final 2 games, they're in to the 1996 playoffs. Or if they win today and Washington loses later today out in Arizona, they're in the playoffs. 2nd down and 6. Leroy Hoare to first down into Tampa Bay territory.
Whoa. What a big block by Charles Evans, the fullback.
Right now, the Buccaneers defense missing a key piece as John Lynch is out with a hip pointer. They don't know if he'll return.
Yeah, and he's a missile. I mean, Monty Kiffin calls him the missile, the way he attacks the line of scrimmage from his strong safety position. He gets up there and runs support, and he just loves being around the football. And, you know, to stop the power game, to stop Leroy Hoare, you miss him out of the lineup.
Ward has had a big day. This is Scotty Graham, met at the line of scrimmage by Ahanotu and thrown backward.
Nothing off of his coverage back. It's his own coverage. Sloughs back underneath it.
Just not worried about the tight end. I mean, they're able to slough back because it's no Novacek. They're not worried about the tight end as a receiver, and that's 5 trips now.
Stop.
4 field goals. Who's that? Look at Billy. I knew it all the time when I went for it.
And for Tampa Bay's defense and for Tony Dungy and Monty Kiffin, I mean, now you need turnovers. You know, you preach turnovers to them all year long, but you need them.
They've been handed 3 today. 2nd down and 9. Into the flat. Graham on the run. He's to the 42. Maybe knocked down at the 43 by Martz. It is the 43-yard line. And a 3rd and 5 coming up from Minnesota. Longest completion of the day, 18 yards for Brad Johnson. So everything's been short. 158 yards, 19 out of 27 and 2 picks. Blitz coming from Melvin Johnson again. Carter overthrown. And it was Melvin Johnson in the face of Brad Johnson as he got rid of it.
And it's a good thing they blitz, Joe, because, you know, that's what I was getting worried about with Lynch out. Now, I want you to watch back here. That's Charles Mincy, okay, and he's the safety back there. Now, they blitz Johnson up here and gets the pressure on. It's a good thing the pressure is there because Carter is wide open. He has everybody beat, including Mincy, and Mincy's the guy that is in there for Lynch.
Now Berger. Big rush coming from the Buccaneers. Berger to Williams from inside the 15, gets to the 20. That's it. Well covered by one of the extra defensive backs active for today's game, Anthony Pryor. Buccaneers have it back. They trail by 4. Then you got this guy. His job today is to guard the snowmobiles. It's Fan Appreciation Day here at the Metrodome. The Vikings would have appreciated a sellout. They didn't get it, but they're giving away snowmobiles. Dilfer throws, and it's nearly picked off as Dwayne Washington climbed the back of Courtney Hawkins.
Dwayne Washington plays this well. Watch him sit down on it. And a lot of times he guesses and looks back, but there he knew exactly the route that Hawkins was running. He sat there, he waited for him, he got down in a squat as he approached him and just waited on the throw.
Dilfer now 8 out of 19 for only 50 yards and 1 interception. Rhett has only 1 carry this half. 2nd down and 10. Play action again. Dilfer airs it out. Hawkins has his man beat, and he's overthrown.
Trent Dilfer's weakness. Accurate long ball. They set the play up well. Your I formation, you know, tight end. Everybody looks like there's going to be a power run game. You have 1 wide receiver. Hawkins down deep. And he has his man beat on the post route. There's no safety over there. It's just a long ball. I mean, Dilfer has struggled with it.
Corey Fuller was beaten on the play now. 5 defensive backs for Minnesota as Harlan boys start out on 3rd and 10. Hawkins only 1 catch today. Hand off to Ellison. Jerry Ellison to the 30. And I believe he has enough for a 1st down.
You know, I told you they set it up last time when they went deep. They looked like it was going to be run. Watch this. This is 4 wide receivers, no tight end, and 1 back. So that's spreading the defense out. You have them spread out, you get them thinking pass, and then you hand it off underneath, and Ellison picks his way up for a 1st down.
They needed 10. He got 10. With the ball resting at the Tampa Bay 30, it's 1st down. Only the 4th 1st down for the Buccaneers. Back to the air. Dilfer gets out of trouble. Throws on the run and has Carl Williams. And a 1st down across the Tampa Bay 45. Hit by Dwayne Washington.
Well, that was a nice job of Dilfer keeping active. He got out. It looked like there, number 24 of this route. Because where Dilfer was looking, he was looking for Thomas down here and out, and he wasn't there. It looked like Robbie ran the wrong route. But Dilfer does a nice job of staying active. See, Robbie's in here, and Dilfer's looking over here. But he stays active, and Carl Williams keeps working.
1st catch of the day for Williams. 22nd of the year, and this is all stop.
And a 1st down play. Smith.
Bay Packer update on a McDonald's game break. Back to JB at our Fox Television Center.
All right, take a look at Bill Moss.
clinch a bye with a win. They are 11-3. Looking for home field advantage with Minnesota in second place in the Central at 8-6. Dilfer for Harris, and it's incomplete. Alexander and
Aikman's pass is broken up. Otis Smith, 3 guards. I want you to watch this. I want you to watch Brady rush over Christmas. Watch him just blow up the guard. I mean, he just lowers his shoulder and just dumps Christmas. And there's the pressure all over Dilfer, and he can't get the ball out. I mean, that's been part of the problem today for Tampa Bay's offense.
Talked to Trent Dilfer. He said, you look at the matchup, Jackie Harris against Darryl Talley, you think that might be a freebie. In fact, you don't want to think about it too much because it might turn against you. Jackie Harris today, 0 catches. Third down when we come back.
Harris. Now, Jackie Harris here gets the jam. Now, watch him just stop. I mean, he is not working at all. So, I mean, yeah, I got jammed so I can't get off the line of scrimmage. You've got to get off the line of scrimmage. And you like that matchup with Jackie Harris's speed. Jackie Harris has the speed of a wide receiver. Use it. Work, and get off.
Harris shut out today. It's 3rd and 7. Blitz coming. Buccaneers pick it up, and this throw is nowhere near anybody. Carl Williams had broken toward the center of the field. Dilfer threw it out near the sideline, and there was no one there for that catch.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay's had its chances. Now, I want you to watch the blitz. Here comes the safety, and here comes Brady. And here they come up the gut. Now, there's nobody back here. Nobody in the middle of the field. Here's the post. Throw the ball to him. And that's what Trent Dilfer cannot do.
Looked like the two had different routes in mind. Williams broke to the middle of the field, and Dilfer threw it toward the sideline as Barnhart gets rid of it. Taken in at the 15 by Amp Lee. And the Vikings get it back with a 4-point lead.
You take a look at what Trent Dilfer and where he has thrown the ball today. And most of it, his success is right there to the running backs. Not many yards there, but that's where he has his success, the short stuff underneath. And it's tough. You know what, for Mike Shula, Joe, it's tough to call plays offensively and give your offense a chance when your biggest threat is a fullback.
Again, Minnesota with a win here against Tampa Bay. They'll have their eyes on the Arizona Cardinals later. They take on Washington. That is to the sideline and out of the reach of Chris Carter. He does what he does so well, fight off Dimry with his right hand. Look for the catch with a one hand, the left hand, but it was just thrown too far out of bounds.
You know, Tampa Bay is an aggressive group up front. Now watch the pressure here by Warren Sapp, number 99. He just keeps fighting and pushing his way through, and they're all over top of Johnson, and Johnson didn't make a good throw that time. And you can't make good throws when you have all those bodies in your face.
2nd down and 10. That's Amp Lee. He gets to the 18. Warren Sapp made the tackle, and now 3rd and 7 coming up for Minnesota.
And this is where Brad Johnson has been effective on 3rd downs. Over the last 3 games, his 3rd down percentage has been extremely high. And I think that's really what's elevated him into the top-rated passer in the NFL.
Up over 70%
last week.
A week ago against Detroit. 3rd and 7. That's Amp Lee underneath. Lost the football. Tampa Bay looking for it, and it's Warren Sapp. Another turnover, number 4. Sapp comes away with it, and trailing by 4, the Buccaneers have it inside the Minnesota 15.
Turnovers have been the key. That's what kept them in here. Now they've got to get points off turnover. They were not able to do that on their first turnover. They have a second shot here to take advantage of it. They're inside the 20. They got to get some points out of this.
That was Mincy, it looked like, who stripped the ball as Lee tried to split the defenders and get the first down. And the Tampa Bay offense has to do something with this, as Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, obviously dejected. 4 turnovers to only 1 for Tampa Bay. Keep it on the ground with Rhett. Only his second carry of the half, and he's met by Jeff Brady after he got 2.
And let's see, you know, the Tampa Bay Bucs. Let's see the offense. You know, now they're in a situation, you know, they talk about we must win in December. You know, they know they're out of the playoffs, but they want to play in a big game. Well, here's a team on the road in the division in December. You know, and Tony wants to have these guys have the frame of mind of how they have to win in December, that this is a big game. Get them prepared for games to come in the future. They've got know that they've got to score off of this. Bad throw by Trent Dilfer. Bad throw, bad read. I think he sees he's looking over top of Jeff Brady and doesn't see Orlando Thomas bait him.
And who again was there for Minnesota? Darryl Talley. Thomas, his 5th interception.
Heck of a rush by Warren Sapp.
That last completion to Graham, good for 7, now 3rd and 2. Johnson's first option isn't there, and Brad Johnson is sacked by Warren Sapp again. His 2nd of the day and his 8th of the year.
Warren Sapp's having himself a good ball game. And, you know, sometimes at the end of the year when you play well and then you're going against a guy that made the Pro Bowl and you didn't, I mean, you give it a little extra. And there he just keeps working. He gets a rush, then he gets the spin back inside. And it was the coverage downfield that gave him the opportunity to buy him that time to get there.
Brad Johnson was looking for that short throw on 3rd and 2, and it was shut off. Mitch Berger to punt. Carl Williams waiting deep. Returnable kick inside the 40. Carl Williams picks his way through the middle of the field, and there's Mitch Berger again. I think he's their leading tackler. Berger makes the stop, and he saves what would have been yet another punt return for a touchdown. 2nd time Mitch has done it here this afternoon. He better get bigger pads. Wrap up those arms. Oh, he's feeling it now.
Obviously upset that somebody won this snowmobile. He was going down there to check it out, and he wanted a piece of that.
He picked his way through the Tampa Bay sideline, but did not come away with a snowmobile. Meanwhile, Mitch Berger is now showing his war wounds.
Yeah, he's showing his wounds to Mike Morris. I got one here. I got one here. Mike, I got more scars than you do today. Have you been hurt? Well, I'll tell you, this stuff really aches. This football stuff's tough stuff, Mike. And Mike's getting real tired of hearing it. Mike's about ready to deep snap him.
He's made 2 touchdown-saving tackles on Carl Williams on 2 punts.
Oh, so put him up for Special Teams Player of the Week, Joe.
He's my favorite. There's Warren Sapp. What a day he's had. 4 tackles, a couple of sacks, 8 sacks on the year, a fumble recovery. Tampa Bay has let Sapp do what he's best at doing, and that is be an athlete, get upfield, and make things happen.
Last year they had him playing 2-gap, and it just didn't fit him. Shooting gaps is what's good for him.
Play action on 1st down. Dilfer right back to the air, underthrows everybody. And Dilfer has spent more energy after the play being upset at himself or a receiver.
At himself, Joe.
Than he has during the play.
Yeah, I mean, Courtney Hawkins again. It was a deep out, and he was open. I mean, that ball should have been there. It was grossly underthrown. I mean, look, you can't get much more open than that.
Trent Dilfer, 1 of his last 8. 2 interceptions on the day, 1 in this half. Eric Rhett inside the 40 to the 36. He got 6 in a 3rd and 4 coming up.
You know, Joe, it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Tampa Bay in the offseason. You know, you're talking to Tony, and I asked him what his Christmas wish is. He said, well, I wish I could keep everybody and add to it. But he knows he's not going to be able to. There's a lot of contracts up. Alvin Harper has been on the bench for them about the last 4 weeks. And he should be on the bench because he's been ineffective for this team. And then you look at Eric Rhett's situation. I mean, his contract is not done. And you look at him and think, well, is that really the guy you want back there in this offense?
3rd down and 4. Down the sideline, and you talk about miscommunication. Dilfer throws it to the end zone, and Rob Thomas is waiting back at the 20. What in the world is going on between these two?
Well, I think that's happened several times today. Miscommunication. I want you to watch down here. That's Robbie Thomas. Robbie Thomas slams on the brake and runs the out. Trent throws the go.
The Buccaneers toyed with going for it on 4th and 4. Now they bring the punt team in late. Barnhart